Rainbows of Royalty by Triniary. Chapter 12. The Nightmare Begins. Took on responsibility for both moon and sun, and harmony has been maintained in Equestria for generations since. The book closed. You see, now that is how the princess... Look! It's Rainbow Dash! A crowd of fillies and colts fled to the windows as Cheerily repressed a groan. That filly had only been in town for 2 days, and already she could have completely lost by flying past. She had hoped that the novelty of the new visitor would wear off, and Ponyville's foals would divert their attention elsewhere. Thus far, no such luck. Now, class. The ringing of the school bell, signaling the end of the day, cut her off, and she quickly had to leap to the side to avoid a stampede of little ponies. Fine. Remember to have fun at the summer sun celebration, she called. Outside, Rainbow Dash delighted in a chorus of cheers and shouts that greeted her as the fillies and colts ran out of school. They jumped and waved, eager to get her attention. With a loose leaf, Dash zoomed down to the ground, a rainbow in her wake. She flew just over their heads, blowing manes wildly out of place as they stopped and cheered. A tight, impetuous turn sent her soaring back up into the wild blue. The wind tugged at her mane and tail, sending them and flapping in mid-air. Her feathers stretched out as if trying to catch the air itself. She looped around the schoolyard once, twice, and on the third time did a series of barrel rolls. Rainbow Dash then evened out and zipped across rooftops, her host delicately strutting across them as she half ran, half flew across from the house to house, until she reached the end of the street. Then, with a final somersault, she landed hard on her hose and on the street below, right in front of the local restaurant. She breezed in and took a seat at one of the outdoor tables, scooping the menu. This was the life. Hot piping breakfast each morning at Sweet Apple Acres, a whole day of flying, when Twilight wasn't dragging her around to oversee preparations, naps in the clouds, competitions with Applejacks, snaps with Fluttershy, more flying, dinner with Ditzy and Dinky, then back to the farm for the night, rinse and repeat. A pair of massive hooves covered Dash's face from behind, her forelegs feeling surprised. Guess who, Dassy? Teased a familiar-sounding voice. Shining armor, you pinhead! Let me go! She grunted, spinning around the second he let go of her. Jerk! A large unicorn laughed at the indignant look on her face. Oh, come on, Dash. He pouted. I missed you, kid. How you doing? Rainbow Dash brightened immediately, which of course had nothing to do with the admission he actually missed her. Like at all. Likewise, the fact that her heart skipped a little beat was coincidence. Totally. It's been awesome! She threw her hose up. I get to fly all I want, get great food, and no boring lessons or snobby ponies to ruin things. It's a blast! Glad to enjoy yourself. Shining mussed her mane. How's Twilight doing? Twilight's actually pretty okay, Rainbow said after thinking about it. I think she's having some fun, and she's actually got to meet some ponies without completely shutting down. She's kinda cool when she stops being all nervous or nerdy. No offense. She added as an afterthought. Shining Armor didn't seem offended. That's great news! I was hoping that if any pony could get her to loosen up a bit and gain a little confidence, it'd be you. Rainbow had to clamp down her jaw to prevent a squeal of delight. Even so, her hind legs did a little kick of joy, safely hidden from view under the table. Yeah? Her voice broke as she cleared her throat, as if that would really help. Well, we actually kind of got to talking a bit about stuff, like the entrance exam thing. Shiny's eyes widened. Yeah, it was pretty heavy. She was really torn up about it, but Applejack and I, that farm pony you met before, tried to get her to look at it differently. I don't know how much of it she really got going, but... She was abruptly cut off when Shining Armor enfolded her into a bullseye hug. Oh! Shining? Dash! I don't think I can ever thank you enough! He said softly into her ear. I've been trying to get Twilight to deal with what happened and to go out and make friends for ages. Thank you so much! Rainbow Dash's shining cheeks erupted into a bright red blush, to see tinge into purple the hotter it got. Her mouth refused to form words. It just sounded for randomly opening and closing her mouth like a fish out of water. When, too soon, Shining Armor stepped away and gave Dash a small smile. I'm going to see Twilight myself. When you're done here, Princess Celestia would like to see you. She has a room upstairs in the town hall in preparation for her appearance in the morning. It's been great seeing you, Dash. I owe you big time. With a sort of salute, offset by an easygoing smile, the royal guard turned and trotted off. Rainbow Dash slipped into her chair, a goofy grin plastered to her face, until the rest of the message sunk in. Celestia wanted to see her. She gulped. Suddenly, she wasn't very hungry anymore. About an hour later, Rainbow Dash was trotting up the stairs to the upper level of Ponyville Town Hall. A pair of white piggy and gold armor told her she was in the right place. Hey guys, the princess wanted to see me? She half hoped they would turn her aside, but no. They turned and stood aside and wanted to open the door for her. The moment she stepped in, she heard the door firmly shut behind her. It had a certain finality to it. Celestia? Rainbow Dash asked as she trotted inside the princess's room. Her words were informal, but her tone was nervous. The last night they had seen each other had not ended on the best of terms. For a moment, she thought that the princess wasn't there. She then heard a soft, elegant sigh that spoke of a tremendous weariness and love. Oh, I had hoped I would get to see you tonight. This was not what Rainbow Dash was expecting. Why? She slowly made her way inside. Celestia? You okay? Another student might quail at the thought of addressing Princess Celestia so informally, even in private. With Rainbow Dash, Celestia had to remind her to address her as Princess when in public. If she had to listen to one more stuffy noble complain about her students in priority. Yes, I am. Celestia sat on her bed, legs tugged beneath her. She gently patted the space next to her with her wing. Rainbow Dash gave a single flap and hauled her to the bed next to Celestia. She felt Celestia's giant wing enfolding her, drawing her close. Rainbow Dash expected a royal treating out, but not this. This brought her back to all the times Celestia would do this when Rainbow Dash was just a filly. As much as she liked her mentor, she was glad there wasn't any pony around to see this. It made the image-conscious Pegasus feel a little embarrassed at being coddled and fussed over like a fledgling again, even if she liked on another level, especially because she liked it. So, what's up? Rainbow Dash asked, hopefully that this was not about last night they saw each other. She bit her lip as she felt Celestia's feathers struck her back. I just thought we should talk. It seems as if we haven't been able to spend as much time together as I would like. She exhaled. Is there anything you want to talk about? Rainbow Dash visited. Nice weather we're having? She gave her widest, cheesiest grin, and never failed to make Celestia smile. Her student was just so cute when she thought she was being subtle. Yes, I suppose we are at that. Leaning her head down to nuzzle her student, while gently tussling Rainbow's mane with her hoof. Hey! Rainbow Dash whined as she feebly shooed Celestia's hoof away and set about fixing her mane. Celestia chuckled. I was referring more to how you were doing. She looked at the young Pegasus. I saw you practicing this afternoon. Yeah! She shuffled her wings. Just needed to stretch my wings for a bit. Nodding in understanding, Celestia met her eyes. So your wings were feeling cramped? I guess so. Rainbow Dash looked away. Celestia kept her face neutral. I see. But now your wings are feeling more free. Here in Ponyville than in Canterlot. Rainbow Dash leaned her head against Celestia's side and sighed gently. I guess. Don't get me wrong! She quickly added, looking as to see if the princess was offended. She wasn't. I like Canterlot fine, but... Princess Celestia smiled before taking on an exaggerated frown. What's the matter, my faithful student? Here I thought you liked all the fancy dinner parties and soirees. Dash groaned. Ugh, I'd rather you banish me than throw me in a desert in the place you banished me to than to go to another one of those! I know. I get that a lot. Celestia nuzzles her. I just fear that sometimes you spend too much time by yourself. There are many young ponies in Canterlot for you to meet. Besides, she winked, I like showing you off. Rainbow Dash gave a preening smile. Yeah, I know how awesome I am. It was hard to tell how much was boast and how much was humor. Her smile slipped. But everybody there was just so dull! They wouldn't know a good time if it flew in front of their face. It's all about who's dating who and so-so's new yacht in gay fashion. She made to be physically ill. None of them have any taste for fun. I tried inviting them to see the Wonder Balls, but all they wanted to do was sit up in the private boxes and chatter while the race was going on. They didn't want to mingle with the fans or cheer or anything. She rolled her eyes. Give me a break! So uncool. Celestia nodded knowingly. Rainbow Dash was very impatient with other ponies who didn't share her interests, especially if they favored activities that were low intensity. She took a lack of interest in her favorite things as a lack of interest in her. So, you're content to just spend time with me in the guards? Hey, yeah! Rainbow blurted out. The guards were at least good for a race or a competition now and then. I mean, they're hardcore. If I tried that with any of those snobs, they end up with bruises and run home whining. They're cool. And you're really cool. This made Celestia's heart melt, and just how eager and earnest she sounded. Rainbow Dash wasn't one to integrate herself. In truth, they've had more than one argument. What she said, she meant. What's made her a rarity in the royal city. Thank you, my dear. The Scion Pegasus fluttered her wings bashfully. You're welcome. Honestly, if it weren't for you, that place would have been the boredom capital of the world. So I take it you're enjoying yourself here in Ponyville? Celestia asked, away from all those stuffy nobles and your stuffy teacher? Her tone was light, even teased, but Rainbow Dash still flinched. What is it? I'm sorry. Rainbow Dash looked away, not wanting to see Celestia see the tears welling up in her eyes. Celestia's wing rubbed her back, drawing her closer to her friend and mentor. Whatever are you sorry for? Celestia asked, as Rainbow's head lowered itself to the bed. I know I'm not the pony you would have wanted to be here. I know I'm not a good student, that I argue a lot and cause you trouble. Rainbow Miriam Dash. Celestia tilted Dash's head up. You are a wonderful student. You've worked very hard and your training has been excellent. You've reached every bar I set for you physically. True, your mind could use a little broadening. It could use a little maturing. But you've grown to be a wonderful mare. You are strong, brave, talented, and you'll always speak your mind. And if we quarrel, it is because we have different ideas on what is best for you. I'm proud that you have your own opinions. I just wish you would think a little bit more before you form them. She gently flicked Rainbow's muzzle, prompting a giggle from her. So, you're not mad at me? Rainbow squeaked, her voice breaking from emotion. No, I'm not. She smiled as she heard Rainbow Dash sigh in relief, practically melting against her side as the tension poured out of her. The two lay there for much of the night, drawing comfort and strength from each other's presence. As the night began to wane, Celestia stood and walked to the window. Curious, Rainbow followed her, stared out at the bright vision of the moon, marred only by a dark curve that almost seemed to be a mare's face, staring down about them. It's almost time, Celestia murmured, watching as 4 nearby stars slowly converged on the moon. You need to go. Go? Why? Dash asked. Time for what? A nightmare. Celestia hung her head. Of my own making. See what now? There was a pregnant pause before the princess responded, but in a way Rainbow Dash did not expect. Do you recall the legend of Nightmare Moon? The origin of Nightmare Night? I cared more about getting free candy and pranking ponies than listening to ancient mythology. Her student admitted. Why? Because it isn't mythology or even a legend. It's all true. It's all true. Please, go now, before it's too late. Wait, go where? What's going on? Dash stomped her hoof. I'm not going anywhere until you start making sense. If you got a problem, then I'm staying. Rainbow Dash tilted her head up defiantly, a fire practically blazing in her eyes. Celestia chuckled entirely as she surprised Dash with a nuzzle. I wish that you had not been here to see this, she said softly. But I suppose I should have known better. Celestia, what the heck's going on? Rainbow demanded, all pretense of decorum gone. The ruler of Equestria's voice took a heavy tone. It began 1,000 years ago, when some pony I cared very deeply about fell victim to her own jealousy and bitterness, and was transformed into a wicked mare of darkness, Nightmare Moon. I tried to reason with her, but I failed. In the end, she was banished to the moon, and now she is returning to Equestria. Well then, why doesn't he just do it again? Rainbow Dash asked. Stop her! Banish her or whatever! Celestia shook her head. Last time I was fortunate, and our battle was swift. That will not be the case this time. If I were to engage her, then myself the damage, even if I were victorious, would be tremendous. Many ponies would be hurt, and worse. That is unacceptable. Nor can I allow her to destroy my connection with the sun and doom the world to eternal darkness. So I must pursue a third option. Which is, Rainbow prodded. I shall become one with the sun. Celestia stood tall. As long as the sun exists, so shall I, and as long as I exist, in some form, the connection between the sun and Equestria remains intact. The Cyan Pegasus was certain this was all very important, but that didn't mean she understood what the princess was talking about. What the heck does that even mean? Celestia paused before looking Rainbow Dash squarely in the eye. It means that I will no longer exist as I am now. I will surrender my body, my mind, everything that makes me Celestia, and be reduced to my ancestral connection with the sun. I will, effectively, die. Rainbow Dash's jaw dropped. But you can't! You can come back, right? Right? Her voice took on a bad tone as Celestia didn't answer. Princess, I am not sure, the princess admitted. Then don't do it! The Rainbow Mare cried. She held up her hoof. It has already begun. Rainbow Dash's wings flared out in shock and horror as she saw the ends of Celestia's hoof start to glow a bright golden light and slowly dissolved into a golden mist. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You can't! Dash pleaded, tugging on Celestia's foreleg. Listen to me. There isn't much time. What happens to me now cannot be changed and isn't important. What needs to be done is to stop Nightmare Moon. Rainbow Dash shook her head, her eyes wet with tears. How? Why me? Why didn't you ever tell me about all this? I'm sorry. Celestia looked gently heartbroken. I could not tell you because I knew you would try to stop me. She took a steadying breath. Even now I wish I could tell you more, but Nightmare Moon is dangerous and clever. If I simply told you what to do now, she would rip that knowledge from your mind the second she arrives and take steps to ensure her triumph. You must find your own way to stop her, but never fear, my faithful student. You already have everything, and every pony you will need. No. No. Remo sobbed as he pressed her head against Celestia's neck. Please! Don't go! Rainbow Dash. Celestia sighed as he wrapped her student up in her wings. She cast a quick look at the window. The stars were almost at the moon now. It wouldn't be long. Please, let us not have our last few moments be spent on wishing things that could be different. Instead, let's celebrate what happens to each other. Rainbow sniffed, her tears falling down her cheeks in a way that would have mortified her at any other time. But right now, she didn't care about that. Before she even realized what she was doing, she fell into a gentle voice that seemed to speak straight from her heart. I've heard it said that ponies come into our lives for a reason, bringing something we must learn, and we are led to those who help us most to grow if we let them, and we help them in return. Well, I don't know if I believe that's true, but I know who I am today Because I knew you. Like a comet pulled from orbit as it passes the sun. Like a stream that meets a boulder halfway through the wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you, I have been changed for good. Celestia smiled and gently stroked Rainbow Tessa's head with a hoof. It may well be that we will never meet again in this lifetime. So let me say before we part, so much of me is made of what I learned from you. You'll be with me like a hoof print on my heart. And now whatever way our stories end, I know you have rewritten mine by being my friend. Like a ship blown from its mooring by a wind off the sea. Like a seed dropped by a skybird in a distant wood. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? But because I knew you. Rainbow Dash gave a cheeky grin. Because I knew you. Celestia smiled and joined her singing. I've been changed for good. Celestia dipped her head. And just to clear the air, I ask forgiveness for the thing you've done that you blamed me for. Rainbow Dash shook her head. But then I guess we know there's blame to share. And the two agreed. And none of it seems to matter anymore. As they then fell into an alternating rhythm. Like a comet pulled from orbit, like a ship blown from its mooring, as it passes the sun by a wind off the sea, like a stream that meets a boulder, like a seed dropped by a bird, and halfway through the wood. They joined together again. Who can say if I've been changed for the better? I do believe I've been changed for the better. Rainbow Tessa's voice started to break as her tears got teary again. Because I knew you. Because I knew you. Celestia echoed, joining her one more time. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good. They finished together. Darn it, I hate this. I hate when they do a good song you like this. This leaves me broken. I need a minute. I need something to take me off. I'll be right back, guys. And just in time, the golden light had almost completely enveloped Celestia. No! Celestia! Rainbow Dash grabbed her. Please don't go! I don't know what to do! Gently stroking Rainbow Dash's mane, Celestia hugged her. Oh, my student. You've been flying for as long as I've known you. Now I'm asking you to soar, and I have every confidence that you'll succeed. Remember, you are never alone. Even if you can't see me, I will still be here. As will your friends. For friendship is mad. Celestia threw her head back, and eyes mouth opening wide as golden light erupted forth. She flung her wings out and her legs as she hovered in the air, seeing light pouring out, turning her into a multi-pointed golden star. The light was so bright, as much as she didn't want to, Rainbow Dash couldn't help but look away. When she looked back, blinking the spots in front of her eyes away, Celestia was gone. A low, cleaning wail filled the room, and it took Rainbow Dash a moment to realize it was coming from her. But her solitude and mourning was interrupted by the window being blown in. She dusted her hose to see a creature that stepped straight out of nightmares of H.P. Clopcraft. Black as the night and wearing dark blue armor, this winged unicorn was the antithesis of Celestia. Well, my little pony, aren't you lucky? Nightmare Moon smiles like that of a cobra. You get to be the first to welcome back the true ruler of Equestria! Chapter 13. Loss. Rainbow Dash's wings flared back as she pawed the ground. Get back! She snorted, transitioning from warning Celestia to racing against the reason Celestia was gone. I'm warning you! Nightmare Moon tossed her head back and laughed. Ha 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 ha! Such elegance. Who are you trying to warn? Me, a fool! Growling, Rainbow Dash hurled herself at the dark mare, her front hoof outreached and ready to smash her in the snout. Then, in less than a second, she stopped, her hoof less than an inch away from Nightmare Moon, faintly glowing with a purple aura. Rainbow struggled, but could not get her hoof or any part of her to budge. Nightmare Moon looked down at her. I'm attempting to lay a hoof on royalty is punishable by death. Still, she went on, your speed is most impressive. I will spare your life if you answer my question. Where is Celestia? I can feel her presence. I know she was here. Where is she? Plain screams Rainbow's heart, but her voice defiant. She has some place important to be. I think she was having her hooves done. Hot breath billowed in Dash's face as Nightmare Moon snorted angry. Impudent! Very well. If you shall not tell me, then I shall rip the answers from your mind. Her eyes glowed white as she lowered her horn to a spot right between Rainbow's eyes. The Pegasus tried not to close her eyes, but the feeling she was about to be impaled on this monster's horn was too strong. There was a burning, searing sensation that came from Rainbow's own head. She couldn't help but let out a shriek as a torrent of thoughts and images poured through her mind. The intensity and speed of these thoughts was painful enough, but the sensation of having this dark presence sifting through them with semi-bored indifference at some point looking through a photo album made it all 10 times worse. After what might have been seconds or hours, Rainbow Dash felt herself forcibly recalling her last moments with Celestia. She railed, fighting against this monster and anything she wanted, but it was no use. Nightmare Moon clenched her teeth. So, after denying me my birthright, my throne, and my freedom, she even denies me my revenge! Her eyes blared in a rage. With a whole howl born of pure anger, she unleashed her fury upon the now empty room, destroying the bed and furniture with her magic, reducing them to splinters. Rainbow Dash groaned, her head aching as she still hung up in the grips of Nightmare's magic, temporarily forgotten but still unable to move. It wasn't long before Nightmare Moon remembered her. You, who are you? And why did Celestia speak only to you before she passed? Her eyes narrowed, revealing what she had ripped from Rainbow's memories. Rainbow Dash, you are Celestia's student. What's so funny? Dash snarled. She had never seen so much malice packed into a single smile as she did when Nightmare Moon smiled at her. Even after 1,000 years, I can see Celestia's sense of humor is unchanged. The most bull-headed, intractable, unimpressive dullard in all of Equestria. Of course she would choose you to be her protege. What a joke! Shut up! Dash barked. That's a load of horse apples! Come now. How can I lie when I'm going by your own memories? Sharp teeth protruded as the mare darkness grinned. You know just how much of a fairy you are, so why deny it? Rainbow clenched her teeth so much it hurt. I'm going to bug you into the dark side of your moon! She promised. With a toss of her head, Nightmare Moon sent Rainbow Dash hurtling through the closed door with a smash. She sailed out to the main hall, just in time to hear the mayor announce, The bringer of harmony to honor Equestria, Princess, my blood! There was a shocked gasp as Rainbow was sent careening into the refreshment table. It was broken on impact. Her pheasant exploded into stars. Rainbow Dias! She faintly heard some point, or perhaps ponies calling her. But it sounded like she had gotten caught in her ears. Reaching up with a hoof to check she was actually cake frosting. Shaking her head, she then looked up to see Applejack, Twilight, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, and Fluttershy standing over her, looking concerned. Are you all right, Sugar Cube? My heavens, what a nasty tumble! My goodness, are you okay? What happened? Ooh, that was a nice trick! Do it again! Do it again! Shining armor. She has to touch days. The mayor stepped back to allow the captain to guard access. Kneeling down, he helped her sit up. I'm right here, Dassy. What happened? Are you okay? Where's Princess Celestia? Swallowing a bitter lump, Dass looked down. Celestia! She's gone! Shining Armor's eyes widened. What do you mean, gone? She left? Rainbow Dash shook her head slowly. What happened? He demanded urgently. What's going on? Rainbow Dash pointed to the balcony where Celestia was to appear. Only now is occupied by Nightmare Moon herself. Oh, my beloved subjects. It's been so long since I've seen your precious, sun-loving faces. What did you do with the princess? Shining Armor demanded, his horn glowing menacingly as the two Pegasus guards flanked him on either side. Nightmare Moon chuckled. Why, am I not royal enough for you? Don't you know who I am? Rainbow Dash faintly heard Pinkie Pie going on by something, but she wasn't listening. She was glaring at Nightmare Moon so intently that one would think she would strike her down with merely her eyes. Shining Armor's face looked like it could be carved from granite. Where is Princess Celestia? Answer me now! Nightmare Moon glowered down. Celestia is no more. I am your princess now. Startled gasps and cries tore through the assembled ponies. Now bow before me! Sam demanded. Never! Shiny's horn shimmered and a pink spear was conjured, trapping Nightmare Moon inside. The Pegasus guards flew up and maintained position on either side of the bubble. I place you under arrest in the name of foes! Nightmare bellowed. Her ethereal mane and tail grew until it engulfed her and filled the entire spear. Soon, the spear started to strain, and despite all Shining Armor's efforts, it shattered. Once again, Nightmare Moon stood revealed, her teal eyes turning white as she conjured up lightning from the dark clouds that issued from her own mane and tail. The two Pegasus guards were struck and sent hurtling down to the ground where they laid unconscious. Pandemonium reigned. Terrified foals screamed and cried for their parents as ponies tried to rush for the door, only to have them magically sealed before they could escape. Flare-sized bird chorus panicked and flew this way and that, huddling in the rafters. Flare-sized herself cowered behind the ruins of the refreshment table, covering her head with her hose and sobbing in fear. Shining Armor focused and sent out a beam of magical energy to send straight at Nightmare Moon. Her semi-prehensile mane swatted aside with ease. Once again, her eyes turned white. Shiny! Run! Rainbow Dash called, but Shining Armor stood firm, summoning a shield in front of him with his magic. The lightning cut through his shield as if it weren't there and struck him dead on. With a pained yell and a holler, the brave guard collapsed, smoking slightly. Shining Armor! Rainbow and Twilight called out as one as he charged to check up on him. They breathed a sigh of relief when they saw him stir. The wounded stallion groaned, but was unable to climb to his host. Shiny! Rainbow Dash bit her lip as Twilight nestled her brother. From above, Nightmare Moon regarded the terrified ponies below. Are there any others who would challenge me? Silence reigned until a sharp cry of a foal broke out. The Dark Princess glared at the source of the noise. A lavender-gray unicorn filly sobbing fitfully. Rainbow Dash recognized her. It was Dinky. Dizzy Do, seeing the monster's attention being drawn to her daughter, did what any mother would. You stay away from my muffin! Dizzy cried, flying up in an attempt to distract Nightmare Moon. Dizzy, don't! Rainbow called, taking to the air right before Dizzy was struck in the chest, falling to the floor. Panicked ponies backed away, fearful of drawing the Dark Princess's attention. Mama! Dinky wailed as she tried to run to her mother's side, held back only by the rest of the crowd away from her. Rainbow Dash's jaw trembled before she clenched it. You monster! She hurled herself straight at her. Nightmare Moon snored derisively at the silent Pegasus, right before Rainbow's host solidly impacted against her cheek. She was amazed, even while being incensed. She hadn't blinked, nor turned away, or even let her attention slacken for an instant. One moment Rainbow Dash was on the other side of the hall, the next she was just there. However, her surprising blow did not even cause Nightmare Moon's head to turn. Once more she bound the struggling Pegasus with her mane, regarding her like an interesting bug that had flown up to her face. Such fire, she mused aloud. I have a proposal for you. Rainbow shuddered. She didn't like the sound of that. Not in a million years! Silence! Nightmare Moon bellowed. I offer you a position of power and greatness. The chance to be everything Celestia kept you from becoming. Death snored. I offer you the chance to go, but... She grunted as Nightmare squeezed the air from her lungs. Rainbow struggled but couldn't break free. The wicked mare held her aloft. Behold the rainbow dust! Student and protege of Princess Celestia! Death winced. It couldn't help casting her eyes from over to where Twilight, Applejack, and the others gathered. The farm boy's eyes widened as he repeated, Princess Celestia student? Rainbow Dias? Rady held up a hoof to her face as he collapsed backwards in a faint. Piggy whistled. I bet her tests are really, really hard. Nightmare Moon continued. Let her fate serve as an example to those who would oppose me. Her eyes shimmered. Rainbow Dash tensed, waiting for something horrible to happen. It did, but not in the way she expected. Glancing a quick peek, Dash saw the dark mare's focus was not on her, but on the crowd below. Dizzy Do and two unconscious Pegasi royal guards floated upwards like marionettes on strings. These shall be my minions. An extension of her dark mane and tail swirled around and enveloped the three Pegasi. Rainbow struggled, and the crowd looked up with sheer terror. When the cloud drew back, it placed Dizzy and the guards were three Pegasi with bat-like wings and blue manes and tails. They wore purple and black uniforms with gold-tinted goggles, and that were a cruel parody of the Wonderbolt's uniforms. In the middle was a mare, clearly their leader, who was flanked on either side by the two stallions in identical garb. Their eyes glowed with malice as they flew under their own power, circling around their master. Rainbow Dash felt her jaw drop. Dizzy? Guys? I shot through her face. No. Come on. It's me! Rainbow Dash! Dizzy Do, or at least the mare who now stood in her place, regarded her with a sneer. Nightmare Moon smiled cruelly. I don't think she recognizes you. Or that name. Turning to her minions, he asked, Tell us, who are you? We are the darkness. The guard on the right hissed, flying past Rainbow Dash on one side. We are the Doom, said the other as he passed her on the other. Dizzy Do smiled wickedly. We are the army of glory and gloom. She bowed her head to Nightmare Moon, followed by her two companions. We are the Shadow Bolts! Nightmare Moon laughed. Ha 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 ha! Wonderful! And now, for my captain. Her eyes turned white once again, and a large white unicorn started to float up in the air. No! Twilight cried. Shining armor! Her horn flashed purple as she tried to tug her brother back to the ground. You can't take him! Let him go! A bolt of lightning struck the ground right in front of her, knocking Twilight back and breaking her focus. Soon, Shining Armor hovered before Nightmare Moon. She cast an evil look at Rainbow Dash, who was struggling with all her strength to break free. Say farewell, taunted the evil princess. Let him go! Rainbow struggled. Why should I? The Nightmare leered. Because if you don't, I'll... Rainbow Dash grunted, trying to think of an appropriate threat. Sounds serious. Still, Nightmare Moon put an overly contemplative look. I'll spare your little friend here, if you ask nicely. Dash grit her teeth so hard they threatened to break. Let Shiny Armor go, please. Nothing left, decreed the Mare of Darkness. Go on, beg. I want to hear you grovel. Dash felt hot tears of helpless racing humiliation built in her eyes. She had to climb down on the earth to scream and curse this thing until her throat was raw, but she couldn't let anything happen to Shiny Armor. Please, let Shiny Armor go. And Dizzy and the others. I'll do whatever you want. She hung her head. Nightmare Moon tossed her head and laughed. Ha 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 ha! I already have what I want. She dismissively tossed Rainbow Dash against the wall. The back of the mare's head exploded in pain as stars stung in her eyes. She dimly saw Nightmare Moon in felt shining armor, as she had done with the Pegasi too, was transformed. Jess heard Twilight scream in protest as Applejack held her back. Shining Armor's hair and coat turned dark blue, almost violet. His armor changed colors to match his new master's. His eyes glimmered the same color as the Shadowbolt's goggles, and he bowed as Nightmare Moon deposited next to her on the balcony. The Shadowbolts joined him. Narrowing her eyes, the new ruler of Equestria looked down at the fallen Rainbow Dash. You have lost your teacher, your friends, your place, and your pride. I have taken everything from you. Ladder, she called to the entire hall. If any pony dares oppose me again, you will envy her fate. Remember this day well, little ponies, for it was your last. From this moment forth, the night will last forever! Lightning struck and she cackled. Her mane and tail billowed as it surrounded her and her new minions. Then, with a whiff and puff of purple smoke, they were gone.